And welcome to another rendition of End of the Line. I'm AJ.
And I'm Bill. Thanks for tuning in. One thing real quick before I forget, wanted to do it last time. I wanted to thank all of our listeners, especially our listeners in Mexico. Apparently I've seen a lot of high numbers of listeners coming from Mexico. So from me to you, buenos noches, amigos.
Gracias.
So keep it up, share with your friends, and thanks for tuning in. This is a little special rendition.
Yeah, definitely. Tonight our purpose is very focused. We just got back from seeing Suicide Squad. I know it's been out for a few days now, but due to some life things, this is our first chance we had to go see it together. So we just got back. We purposefully have not talked about it at all since we left the theater. It was a very quiet ride home.
Yep, AJ was actually in the middle of about talking about it, and he was mentioning the Joker, and I said, "Nope, save it all."
I think it was really smart that you went with that because I
do a lot of smart things. You know why? Because I'm the White Harambe.
Well, he got shot, so I mean,
yeah, he did. Yeah, well, you know.
So inevitably, that is your fate. You will one day do something and get shot for it.
In an attempt to save a child.
Probably,
I will get
most
shot.
likely. I will say though, I when I see movies, I have a tendency to want to talk about them right away. So it was really hard for me. But I'm glad we waited because this will be all genuine reactions for the both of us. So since I'll just kick off real quick since I kind of got us going before and.
You get me going all the time, AJ.
So the first thing that I wanted to talk about right away was Jared Leto's Joker. Personally, while he was different than the Joker from the Dark Knight series, I liked him immensely. I thought he was great. He had the laugh down perfectly, I thought. And the laugh I'm talking about is the animated series laugh.
Almost like the Mark Hamill laugh.
Yeah, that I grew up with. That was kind of, and it reminded me a lot of that, and it reminded me so much of the actual comic book gangster type Joker that you see, not the psychotic psychopath that, while Heath Ledger's was phenomenal, this is just different,
Yeah, it was definitely a different take, and I know, I am personally glad that they were able to go back to the Joker so quick. Only for the fact that, while Heath Ledger's, job that he did, previously was monumental to the character and phenomenal. I was afraid at first that, upon Heath Ledger's passing, that they were just going to make it such a taboo role for such a long time.
Yeah, that would have been pretty crappy.
I'm kind of glad, we broke the ice here. We brought it back. Jared Leto, phenomenal actor, in a lot of different things he's done. I've always been really impressed with him. Obviously, he's the lead singer of 30 Seconds to Mars.
Didn't he win an Oscar for the Texas, the Cancer Club movie? I can't remember the name of it.
The Cancer Club movie?
Yeah, dude, it was Matthew McConaughey, and he was getting the cancer drugs and stuff. Jared Leto was in that movie. I think he got an Oscar for it, I think.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know. I know that was a big...
He played one of the leading roles, actually.
That was the one where Matthew McConaughey lost 100 and something pounds.
Yeah, he was freakishly skinny,
like a skeleton. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad Jared Leto. Although I am partially pissed at him still from one of his concerts. I saw him twice in life. My wife's a huge fan of.
Did he not take his shirt off or something?
No, it's a great performance in Atlanta. He was in the crowd, really mixing it up. I mean, he actually crowd surfed. I mean, he was, really into it. And then we went out and saw him in Hawaii, and it almost seemed like he was on drugs. Didn't want to sing most of his songs, and asked most of it was the audience. He would hold the mic out for the audience to sing. It's listen, dude, I just paid $100 and something for these tickets. I didn't come here to sing my own songs.
We'll sing his songs, actually. So basically you paid for the copyright to sing his songs at his concert. See? So you got your money's worth.
Yeah, so I was a little disappointed, but, neither here nor there. My wife, I almost bought her the VIP tickets for backstage to go meet him, and she even said to me, she's like, I'm just glad you didn't even bother, because we left that concert pissed off. I know probably he'll never listen to this, but if some of my friends out there that are listening have any connections, pass it on to Jared Leto. Still kind of pissed at him.
Oh my gosh.
But
well, maybe he was just having a bad night. Maybe somebody drove by and kicked him in the balls and then took off.
Dude, I don't know, man.
You
Like
know?
it was just like he came out to Hawaii to party, not to work, and there were a lot of good paying customers out there, and it just pissed us all. A lot of people left that concert pissed off because it was just like, and especially when you go from something that you was such a good performance before to that, we were just like, what the fuck is this? Like, and I don't even want to ever see them again in concert. But I guess, my wife keeps track, and they might be coming to Vegas soon or something. But, I'm not really into it. But anyway, back to the movie itself. He did a phenomenal job. I'm still partial to the Heath Ledger performance, but I do see, where a lot of the more diehard fans towards the comics and the cartoon series. I was never big into the cartoon series. I don't know. It would come on, when I was younger, and maybe I was just a little too old for it. I don't know, because I think it was it came on as I'm a few.
I'll
years
go ahead and admit it right now. I still watch cartoons, so I'm not going to say it's ever been too old for me. But I will say this too. It feels kind of like so I just recently saw Batman vs Superman like a week ago. I'd never seen it until then. And I was actually really apprehensive about how, I know we're kind of getting into a different movie, but it all ties in, believe me. I was kind of unsure about how Ben Affleck's character and how his Batman was going to be compared to, Christian Bale's Batman and all that stuff. And to me, I feels like what they're trying to do with the kind of DC cinematic universe is they're trying to make it more like a comic book. The character's more true to the comic book. For example, Batman was like way more gnarly, I thought, in Batman vs Superman than he was in like the Dark Knight series.
No, what do you mean gnarly?
Like he was beating dudes up, breaking their legs. He grabbed a dude's gun and shot him with it.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's the kind of stuff I would expect out of Batman, more so than kind of just the other stuff that he did. Granted, the Dark Knight movies are still great, but I kind of tend to like what they're doing now, and I think they're doing the same thing kind of with Joker, where it's more of a kind of larger-than-life comic book style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that. And now with Batman vs Superman, did you watch the director's cut or the non-director's cut?
Unfortunately, I did not watch the director's cut,
Okay.
and I wish I had, but I'll probably see that at some point.
Yeah, now I had heard the director's cut of that movie actually made the movie make sense. I saw it in theaters, and I don't want to get into that movie because I have probably a horrendous review on that one.
My wife and I literally, after like the first hour and a half, were like, this is bullshit, and we turned it off, right? So then I was like, well, I want to finish the movie. I started it. We got like 24 hours left on the rental. I finished it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this movie's amazing. The last hour really is what made it for me. The first hour and a half, I was like, what? Because it's all that weird, whatever. That could be a whole nother podcast, but yeah, so I felt the same way, essentially, as you did, I think.
Yeah, real quick, there was a tipping point in that movie where it started to like actually make sense and didn't just seem like a weird dream. Because there was like 8 different scenes going on in the first half of the movie. Now we're talking about Batman versus Superman, going back to that. So we're a little late on this.
It's hard to track, right? Because there was like no delineation
there was
to
just crazy shit going on all over the place. Not much semblance of a storyline until the second half when things start getting weeded out, and then all of a sudden when you start to like make sense, all of a sudden Wonder Woman randomly shows up and doesn't make sense in the movie. And then you're like, oh, well, this really wasn't needed because she's getting her own movie. But anyway, with Suicide Squad, I really liked how the movie kind of started. Not going to get into spoilers here for those that haven't seen it. I mean,
why not?
Maybe a little bit of spoilers.
Well, you just put spoiler alert on the title.
Yeah, everybody dies.
That's
no
standard.
But Snape kills Dumbledore halfway through the movie. Spoiler alert in case you're still living in the fucking mid-2000s, just so you guys know. That's a Harry Potter reference.
And it was Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
He was Kaiser Sose. If we get a comment from somebody complaining that we ruined the Unusual Suspects for them, or Usual Suspects for them...
God damn it, I've been meaning to watch that since 1996.
I'm sorry, it's been 10 years at least. Like, you need to get a fucking clue.
It's been like 20 years for Usual Suspects. It's been a long time.
Has it really been that long?
I think it was like 96 or something.
Great movie, man.
Yeah.
Anyway. Sorry.
So the movie started out pretty well with the Usual Suspects, with Suicide Squad, and I liked kind of the flow of it. The backstories were decently done. Some of the stuff kind of just did derail a little bit, and I was
it was a little. It seemed almost unnecessary.
And I was just like, what the hell's going on? Is this even the same movie? And then just some oddities in it. One thing I'll bring up, and this isn't too much of a spoiler, but when you watch the movie, if you haven't watched it yet, when they first came into the city, they got shot down. Who the hell shot them down?
Oh, you know what? I thought they were going to address that, and they didn't. Now that you mention it.
Yeah,
my first thought was maybe it was Joker.
That was my first thought, and then I was like, well, maybe it's the bad dudes, and then I'm like, no
bad dudes came when they came to the wreckage,
and none of them used guns.
They did. Yeah, they did.
Were they using guns?
Yeah. So when they were in that one place from the trailer where the dude uses the fire, gets them all mad and uses the fire.
Oh, they were using.
All those guys were shooting at him.
Okay, that was in the brief time that I ran to the bathroom, I think.
I think you're right. But that was like the only time they really showed them using guns, actually, now that I think about it.
And the enemies themselves were completely just like, it was the cheapest version of costumes you could possibly think of.
Yeah, they were just real kind of
They looked like giant, pimple faces.
I'm not really sure what the point of that was supposed to be.
Yeah, it was just...
They literally would have done better if they just, made the dudes that they were just look like ghost people or something.
Yeah, they could have powder faced them.
Yeah, exactly. That would have made more sense than
but,
rock people or whatever the hell they were.
No, they weren't even rock people. They were just like weird latex thing. Like I have one of those masks hanging in my closet for sexy night, and
it's true.
But that one had a zipper. These didn't in the movie.
The safe word is peanut butter.
It's Harfenslugen.
Oh my, yeah.
That's only when I do my German dungeon porn with the Scheiser stuff. So,
this is a German.
If you're keeping track at home, this is episode 3, and
I think this might be a thing.
And we have brought it up every episode. German shit porn. So, still waiting on my membership card for that special club.
Scheiser sounds better though. The Scheiser films.
The Scheiser films. Augustus saves them over later. You can just use that whenever you're talking about German Scheiser films, and it has no relation.
You could probably use that for anything.
Yeah, really. a lot of things. But
Oh, actually, so sorry. Speaking of Germans, we saw these guys. They straight up look like they were from here from Germany, just standing outside in front of Red Rock, just with their phones, oh, the Uber wouldn't take us inside the park because it costs too much money.
Oh, for some reason I just thought you meant they were dressed like Nazis. Did
I say Nazis?
No, you just said Germans, and I
clearly said Germans.
You said Germans. I made the correlation, the jump.
It's been quite a few years since the Nazis have been around.
It's been a little bit, it was around since The Usual Suspects or something, right?
A little farther back than that. This is the problem with America these days, people. Education, it's not there.
Teach their own, It's
Common Core, that's what it is.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah.
I don't know, but back to Suicide Squad.
George Washington was president of Apple, right?
Yes, he was. Back in the 90s, around the time that Usual Suspects came out.
Okay, all right.
So, and he was Kaiser Sose.
I knew it!
George Washington
You didn't say spoiler alert.
George Washington killed Dumbledore.
Oh.
Yeah, well, and so, I've seen a ton of bad reviews about Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I kept hearing bad stuff, too.
And, here's one of the things. Here's why I like talking about movies. I am just the average Joe, and I actually started out a review thing a couple months ago called the Average Bill Reviews, because I'm the average Bill. I'm just your average everyday dude that just goes out and loves movies.
To me, sounds like the Average Bill Reviews sounds like you're reviewing bills trying to be passed through Congress.
Oh, that's a good idea. I could probably do that too. My goal was really to just review anything that if somebody happened to send me some deodorant in the mail, unused of course, I would give it a good review for a good weeks and try it out on the old stink pits.
The old stink pits.
And then if I liked it, I'd give it a good review, and if not, I'd
Interesting.
That was kind of the premise, but it's spun off into a lot of different things I do in my life. But with this, I'm just AJ and I are not professional review people. Where we kind of, and we're not even those hardcore comic book guys that
you need to stop right now. I know lots of stuff about comic books
and virginity. And what we say, we think that we can kind of get a good idea of what the average American or average Mexican, for in this case, a
Oh,
lot of our Mexican
I
listeners.
feel like my knowledge base is enough to be kind of dangerous. I know most of these characters, but I also watch a lot of like the spin-off shows. So my knowledge I had never read any of the comic books, but I watched like all the seasons of Arrow, and I've seen a lot of Batman stuff and all that thing. So I'm fairly familiar with the DC universe, and so I'd like to say that that's probably a good thing to know when I watch these movies. I know what's going on.
Yeah, you know, the thing is like, you know, with the whole DC universe anyway, that with Arrow, Flash, what's going on in the movies, you know, between all the different TV shows, the different DC multiverses going on, because like Supergirl's part of a different multiverse than Flash. Yeah. So I don't know if you watched the Flash.
I've watched the Flash. I watched Arrow. I've not watched Supergirl.
So I've watched them all, and like the thing is DC has kind of just shot itself in the foot.
I agree completely.
And you know they're trying to play fast catch up to what Marvel has done successfully.
Here's the problem though, is that so where Marvel is succeeding is tying everything in together. And even though Marvel does the same thing with their comics, there's multiple dimensions and all sorts of bullshit, they are keeping it kind of even keeled on this so that there's a lot of continuity. DC's kind of all over the place.
They are, you know, and it's just, you know, and so they got the Flash movie, right? Sorry, they have the Flash TV show.
Yeah.
And I like the main actor that plays the Flash.
Yeah, he does a really good job.
And then they went and cast a different dude to play the Flash for the
movie. Was
movie.
I wrong, or was he Asian looking in Batman vs Superman?
No.
Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
The Flash was the one that was in the convenience store.
Yeah, he looked like...
I don't think
I only saw a flash of him, but he looked like an Asian guy.
Just because he had long black hair does not mean...
I don't know. I just know Barry Allen was just like an average, just kind of...
Yeah, you know, I
don't know.
I didn't really pick up on his ethnicity in that, and then obviously we got to see a small glimpse of him in this movie as well.
Yeah,
in Suicide Squad. Yeah. But you know, I liked the actor that played him in the television show, and I think there was some pretty bad interview with the one from the TV show where he was kind of taken, you know, by surprise when they didn't allow him to portray the Flash in the movies.
Yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't, but who knows?
But it does add to what is already a confusing universe, and then it makes it even more confusing. At least like in the Marvel side, right? The dude from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever.
The guy who played Coulson?
Yeah, the guy who played
he's
Coulson,
in like all the stuff.
Was the same one from the movies. Yep. He just made the transition to television.
That would have been really messed up if they had the someone else play Coulson in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, and you know the same thing what they're doing with Supergirl is I guess they just cast somebody to play her cousin, which is Superman, but it's not the same Superman from the movies.
Of course
so
not,
now,
yeah.
Well, you know, obviously they know the
they
guys
can't afford Henry Cavill or whatever his name is.
The guy's a big actor, and you know he's not going to be doing the TV shows, but it just adds to more confusion because people that you know are used to seeing it.
The way they should do it, and honestly, it would save them money. If there's already an established TV show, Flash, Arrow, and they're going to bring them into the movie side, just cast the same dudes. They're not going to say no. And on top of that, you can pay them less.
Yeah.
And everyone already knows who they are.
I mean, picture that. Picture like Star Trek The Next Generation when they go to make the first movie and Patrick Stewart doesn't play Captain Picard. And
that movie would tank.
And it's played by just somebody else. It'd be like...
It would have tanked.
Who the hell is, know, this...
I'm Jean-Luc Picard. No, you're not.
Yeah. No, you're not the guy we just watched for 7 fucking seasons.
Yeah.
And we decided to go with a different actor because Alec Baldwin as... Jean-Luc Picard. No, it would not work out well.
I would love to see that movie, like a remake. It would have to be a comedy, though, because there's no way that they could pull that off seriously.
Yeah, you know, it's just, you know, and you know, that's the DC kind of universe. It's already fucked.
I just hope at least with the movies, they kind of keep it even, and don't do it like mess it up like they're doing with the TV show stuff.
Yeah, and you know what? With this though, with the movie, I want to say this is the happiest thing about this watching the Suicide Squad. The best thing ever. This is the first Batman movie I have watched. You know, he's not in it. It's not a Batman movie. Like, he's in it briefly, but it's not like focused about him. But they haven't talked about the death of his parents. And
they didn't bring it in.
They didn't bring it in, and so I was like, God damn, please just don't do it again.
I agree. That was cool. I love how they just kind of lightly touched on Batman, like, hey, he exists. It wasn't like one of those things where like, oh, these guys are doing this stuff. They're in Gotham City, but Batman, he's not around because you know, we couldn't afford to get him to be in the movie or something stupid like that.
Exactly. And I
thought that was cool too.
I was happy about that because that was one thing about Batman versus Superman. You know, they start out Batman versus Superman and have to show the death of the Wayne family again.
Yeah,
and I'm like, why?
Man.
I'm like, if at this point you're going out to the movies and you're seeing the 80th Batman movie,
so Batman's been around since like the 30s. You know that, right?
And if you don't know that his parents were killed leaving, you know, a play, and you know, if you don't know that by now, and I understand you can change around some, you know, maybe the Joker killed him this time, like that, you know, in previous movies.
Actually, there's some really cool, like cartoon movies if you're into that kind of stuff. There's a Flash movie called Flashpoint on Netflix or HBO, I don't remember which, but they had an alternate universe. It was really kind of cool because whatever. Anyway, the Flash ends up altering the past and fucks up his own future, and so instead of Batman's parents getting killed, Bruce Wayne gets killed, and his dad becomes Batman, and his mom becomes the Joker.
Oh, that's really kind of fucking weird.
It's dark as shit,
yeah,
actually.
You know,
interesting. I just thought it was kind of cool. But that's the kind of alternate universe shit that DC tends to do.
But at this point, right now, I don't even know what universe we're in the DC
That's a
world.
very, very good point. So hopefully they kind of figure that out.
But, you know, I can see with this movie, they're starting to tie it together a little bit more. With Suicide Squad, one thing I didn't really like was the immediate pace. Like I said, the movie paced well at the beginning, and then once the lady went to go talk to the bad dudes in prison, and then, like, next thing you know, shit goes down, and then they're just hauling them out of prison, and then, like, everything's cool. Like, at no point did you see any development where they wanted to work for her. You remember?
Yeah, I mean, they gave him the shots in their neck or whatever.
Yeah, and they went from, like, you know, pretty much...
They were pretty defiant right away,
initially.
initially.
Yeah, but, you know, they went right from telling the lady to F off to, oh, now they're released from prison and they're out doing shit. You know? And it's just like, there was really no lead in. It was just like, hey, I have this idea. Let's talk to these prisoners. Boom, now they're on the street working for me. And it was just like, boom, 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 because they just wanted to speed that portion of the movie up so that they could bring in, you know, the whole...
Yeah, I think realistically, to just grab someone that's been in prison for however long and just kind of plop them down into society or into a situation like that, it's kind of unrealistic.
It was very unrealistic. I mean, not that the whole friggin' plot was a little bit unrealistic, because it'd be like me saying, oh, you know what, in case shit goes down, let's put together a squad of guys. So let's get Jeffrey Dahmer, Charles Manson, John Wayne Gacy. Let's just put all the massive serial killers together and put them on this squad to go out and just fuck people up. I mean, that's pretty much what they did. These people, yeah, some of them had powers. Harley Quinn really had no purpose other than to look sexy.
Which the feminists, I think, had a big issue with.
Yeah, well,
she was over-sexualized.
I mean, I personally am in love with her more so now. You know, the thing is like, let me just comment on.
And I didn't think her. I don't think she was really that overly sexualized. I mean, she had the short shorts or whatever.
She had the short shorts,
but the rest of her was like covered.
And they had about 15 lower booty shots, which I was not too. You know, displeased about. I definitely enjoyed them, but like when they would do the walking shots,
I've seen movies though where they showed a lot worse stuff. Is what I'm getting.
Yeah, but you know, I must commend her her absolute devotion for the Joker. You know, that type of love, that type of devotion, phenomenal.
I really liked that too.
Yeah, I can't even get my wife to, like, you know, not bitch at me for leaving the toilet seat up. And, you know,
she jumped into a vat
of like poisonous, like, goo in her devotion to love. And, you know, I come home to getting yelled at about stupid shit.
Yeah, so I will say too, I will say here's a couple negative things that I had for the movie. One was it felt like too many characters were just kind of like thrown in there. For example, the Katana chick, like, she was absolutely nowhere, and then all of a sudden they're about to leave and she just hops on the plane. Like, oh yeah, by the way, this is
Yeah, you're right. And then they tried to build some type of stupid story about her that I thought might be going somewhere.
And then it totally turned out to be not what they said, yeah.
And then the story, like, it just fizzled out.
Well, at first she said anybody she kills with her sword gets trapped or whatever, and then she's like, oh, her husband's soul's trapped in there. So, like, is everyone trapped in there, or is that just, like, all bullshit, or what?
No, it means anybody that was killed. So her husband's soul was killed with that blade. So they said
But so everybody else that she's killed in there is in there too.
exactly, and they're all like probably fighting it out or whatever. But
I guess.
But the thing is, you hear that and you're like, oh, well, maybe this has some purpose in the movie, and then it doesn't go anywhere. So
Yeah, who knows?
So
I know she's a character. Like she's actually a character in Arrow as well, pre-husband being murdered, but still kind of the same deal. But she's a lot more significant in Arrow than she was at all in this movie.
But it's just such an odd thing. But I mean, the DC universe has like people in Arrow, and even on his own spin-off show Constantine, where like they bring in all the weird supernatural
I'll
stuff.
tell you what, I tried watching that show, and I think it's the actor because I loved the movie Constantine with my favorite actor ever, Keanu Reeves.
Keanu.
Yeah, I would love to meet that guy in real life, shake his hand. I got a lot of respect for him, actually.
Well, ride the subway a lot because
it's true. Well, you know why he does that.
Yeah,
right?
I do.
Okay. We don't need to get into that. Look it up, though. Anyway, the movie Constantine that he was in, I thought was phenomenal. So, like, anyone else that plays him, I can't handle it. Plus, he's British in this movie, which is kind of weird, or in the show. It's really strange.
And then his show got canceled. They brought him into Arrow, and he's pretty much going to be a regular on Arrow.
Oh, really? I must not be up on the newest season then, because...
Oh, yeah, you don't even know he's in Arrow? Okay.
No, I mean, he was in there. Like, I saw him in there, like, once or twice.
Okay,
but...
spoiler alert, he's Kaiser Soze.
Oh,
sorry.
You got me again.
Yeah.
So there's the characters and kind of that stuff. And then also, I think you're right with, like, the flow of the story was kind of weird. Because, like, it started off, oh, we're going to have these guys or whatever, and then it was like, oh, you're going to go get this target. And
yeah, let's not ruin who the target is. So.
No, I'm not going to say who the target was, but the fact that, like, even the Tier 1 team that was there didn't know, I don't know, it was kind of...
Yeah, I don't know, because the thing is like...
I don't know, does that happen a lot? I don't even...
To put a little bit of, I mean, from what I heard, from other, reading about other operator stories and
I
stuff.
don't read books like that,
When they went into the Osama bin Laden raid, most of them didn't even know they were going after Osama bin Laden until they were already en route. So
well, I get the en route part. That makes sense.
All right.
But like
not even to ever know.
Yeah, to not know until you're like in the room with them.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you should, if you're like, hey, you're gonna rescue a person, like, well, I should probably know who I'm rescuing, otherwise
I hear you. I mean,
recognize them.
The whole movie kind of, and I read some of the reviews prior, and I was like, man, I really just hope it lives up to it. And I think, and the reviews were terrible for the movie.
So this is what I think generally is that for me overall, the story was kind of lame. Really, it was kind of like but it didn't really need to be a great story. It was more about the characters and introducing them and having them be around, and like the whole dynamic of like Harley Quinn and Deadshot and like all the different characters and stuff. I thought were really great. I really enjoyed the Fire Diablo guy. I thought he was awesome. Like his story, he was probably the deepest character, I thought.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job with him. The crocodile guy was just kind of like very stereotypical.
He was pretty funny though. He was pretty funny.
I don't know, like they went with like some old school like Southern Louisiana dude.
They did. I thought it was good, man.
And,
I get what you're saying because he's a crocodile or whatever.
Yeah, and it was just like
or gator. Or whatever.
Yeah, and then it just kind of you guys, if you haven't seen the movie, I guess you'll pick up on it. But it just seemed almost oddly Jar Jar Binks derogatory.
No,
yeah,
that's I didn't get that from him at all.
That's how I got it. I just like, wow, this is very. This is very black people stereotypical in the movie. In even more so in the end that at one point he asked for BET. So I mean you're seeing it, right? I mean
I get it. Yeah, I see that.
And I know there was a lot of backlash with Jar Jar Binks within like the Jamaican community and stuff like that.
What?
Yeah, I mean that was back with episode 1. Y'all have to check that out. I mean,
I have to look that up.
They went stereotypical and a lot. That's the thing is like on the outside when you're not looking for it, you're like, oh yeah, I don't see it. And now it's explained to you, like I just did. I mean, you can kind of see it a little bit more.
Well, it's the same thing with I mean, somebody tells you a fucking, what is it, like a bear shitting in everybody's yard, and you never noticed it, and then when they tell you, you see it every time. Everywhere.
I don't.
There's like some comedian that talks about
I
that.
don't even know that reference.
It's yeah, no. There's a comedian that talks about it. He's like, yeah, it's just like one of those things where like somebody's like, oh man, there's a bear shitting in everybody's yard. And you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about, and then you finally see it, and then you see it everywhere. Like,
I have no idea. I think it's just very late, and that sounds logical to me.
Could be. Whoever wrote that.
But overall,
genius.
Out of like, let's say 10 stars.
Are we really going to do a star rating?
I'm going to give it a star.
Okay, let's hear the average Bill review here.
Let's see what average. So, and the thing is here's how I have to review it. And this is my idea for reviews is not all of them stand on their own merit, because, for instance, like, you don't go into a movie like Suicide Squad like you'd go into a movie like Slumdog Millionaire. That's a movie that won an Oscar a few years back, Best Picture.
Okay.
But that movie was more of like...
Did you have to tell me which Oscar it won?
Oh, Best Picture.
Sound like such a movie snob.
What do you mean? It won Best Picture.
Just go ahead.
So, well, if I said, it won like creative art, you'd be like, oh, who the fuck cares?
I honestly don't care what Oscar it got.
Well, it's a big deal. I mean, Best Composition is not the same as Best Picture. Best Picture is the best picture of that year. But, the thing is...
It was a good movie.
Yeah, so... But you can't measure them the same way. I couldn't say that Slumdog Millionaires... better or worse than something like Transformers, because I don't go to those types of movies for the same appeal.
Yeah, I agree.
I go to one for like Slumdog Millionaire. I want character development. I want a good storyline. I want to be entertained. I want good drama. Maybe a tad of comedy if it's in there, but not really looking for that because it's more about the story.
Okay.
Transformers, I go into that movie, I just want to see eye candy. I want to see things blow up. And if the story halfway makes sense, then that's good enough for me. And that's because that's the type of movie you're going into.
I agree with you. I feel the same way.
So with Suicide Squad, I equate it to like the Transformers. I'm going into it. I want some, semblance of a decent storyline. Nothing crazy. I want some good action scenes, maybe a touch of humor in it. And, do I get out of it what I expected? And, the answer is, yeah, I did. And I would say probably in that kind of genre of films, it is lacking a lot of things, but I'd probably give it a 6.5 out of 10.
6.5 out of 10. That's pretty good.
Within its
I'm not going to go halves. I'm going to probably say, for me, it was probably more of like a 7 or 8 White Harambes.
7 or 8 White Harambes.
Yeah, only because, I actually laughed at quite a few of the spots. I thought a lot of the lines were very clever. I really thought, that Joker's role was great. I thought his appearance in the film was actually going to be less than what it was. So that made me happy too. And the relationship between him and Harley Quinn was actually pretty cool too. I thought that was neat. And then of course, like some of the other, they did do some character development. I was pretty pleased with that. Deadshot was actually kind of a complicated character. Though it was a very Will Smithy type role. Like I saw a lot of other Will Smith.
Did you see a lot of Independence Day Will Smith in that?
No, I was more like...
I did.
I don't know, just, yeah, it was very Will Smith, and I like Will Smith generally. I like most of his movies. But yeah, it was very, very much Will Smith, and I would have preferred that it not be as much, if that makes any sense. I don't know. But overall, the movie was very enjoyable. I would watch it again for sure. And so yeah, that was kind of my take on it. I do this. I look at it the same way. Like more of it did it entertain me?
Yeah.
Was it a good use, a good value of the amount of time I spent sitting there watching it?
And speaking of Deadshot too, once again, Arrow, Deadshot, different character.
Right.
So now we have to be like, oh well, let's forget the TV show.
Well, actually, I don't remember if I think he got killed in the Suicide Squad episodes they did. Deadshot actually gets killed in the show.
Oh yeah,
maybe unless he mysteriously survives or something.
But the thing is, with that, I mean, different actor. But Will Smith, I think he did a great job. I'm kind of like you said, it was very Will Smithy, like the cocky Will Smith that you see in a lot of the standard Will Smith
like Fresh
movies.
Prince style,
And not what was it, 8 pounds or whatever.
That was probably my most like favorite dramatic role he's ever done.
Yeah,
what was the movie where he's like he was selling he got on Wall Street or whatever. where he's like living in a homeless
Oh
shelter.
yeah, that was a good movie.
That was
too.
a good movie too.
And then Concussion, which he just recently
I actually
did.
never saw that one.
You know, he did. He did a great job with that. Maybe he should have been nominated for an
So
Oscar for it.
speaking of Will Smith, is he going to be upset if he doesn't get an Oscar for Suicide Squad?
I don't think this is the type of movie that even gets much Oscar nomination. However, the music, I think, with the
Oh yeah, I forgot
mean,
to even mention that.
I mean, throughout the movie, I mean, I think it was very Guardians of the Galaxy music-esque.
They did a really good job with it, I think.
They
I
did a
agree.
great job, really kind of.
Well, I don't want to say because Guardians of the Galaxy kind of brought back a lot of really good 70s songs that people may have forgotten about.
Yeah, but there was some good classics in this one too.
There was.
And, I mean, it's not that it's not necessarily, you know, it doesn't have to bring back the classics, but use of that kind of music throughout the movie where it actually made sense.
Yep, I get you.
And that's where, you know, what I enjoyed about it. I mean, right from the get-go, even Harley Quinn's, you know, entry music and stuff like that, you know, when they were first introducing her, wasn't a classic song. It was still a modern-day song, but it was just well done and kind of brought into it.
Yeah, I agree.
And then
the music definitely played a good role.
So in the movie, they used Bohemian Rhapsody, the actual original Bohemian Rhapsody in the movie.
Yes.
But, you know, I guess Panic at the Disco did a remake of Bohemian Rhapsody that's on the soundtrack.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why they did that. The only thing I can think of is maybe it had something to do with copyright or licensing or something. But I will say, we just listened to it. I'm not a huge fan.
You know, and I actually read some stuff on social media where a lot of people were just losing their minds over it and talking about
I don't know if it's
how
anything
bad
to
it
lose
is.
sleep over or anything, but
You know, I listened to it, and at first I was just like, well, it doesn't sound that bad. And then they got into the lead vocals without, like, the harmony. And, you know, the lead singer had some weird kind of accent.
Well, so I have listened to Panic at the Disco. I was a huge fan of their first album. I haven't listened to anything they've done recently, but he does have a very unique voice, and they have kind of a unique style of music that didn't really mesh well with Queen's style, I thought.
Yeah. And, you know, some of the like, you know, what threw me off was that the accent, some of the pronunciations of different words.
Yeah, he said them kind of weird.
Yeah.
Especially because everyone knows Bohemian Rhapsody, you know, and those kind of songs, you do them differently, and everyone's going to kind of get bent out of shape about it.
And, you know, in the end, I mean, I think I almost preferred, like, Wayne and Garth's version in from Wayne's World when they were singing it in the car, or almost like your standard karaoke night Bohemian Rhapsody might even have been better. You know,
the harmonies were good. I like the harmony parts.
The harmonies were good.
Yeah, it was just the lead vocals.
The lead vocals were
right
off,
for the song.
and they also tried to just throw in their own weird uniqueness, like you know, where they would just add random like piano pieces and guitar riffs where they just didn't belong.
Or they didn't, like at the end, I was kind of pissed. They didn't have the, you know, like at the very end where it's the piano's playing and then it kind of has the little guitar lead out or the part, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They didn't do that at all. They just left it all piano, and I was really disappointed about that too.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, I'm not a huge fan. You know, definitely nothing to lose sleep over, but I did see a lot of like kind of people that were really upset about it. But I mean,
I'm not a hardcore Queen fan. I like you know, most of their good songs. But.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a hardcore Queen fan, but I mean, there's something. There are things in life in the music world that Freddie Mercury did that just no other artist has been able to duplicate.
He was definitely very, very iconic and kind of genre changing, I thought.
And you know, it's you know, we were talking about it earlier, AJ and I, when we were talking about the song, is that dude that's on America's Got Talent, though, that did a Queen song for his audition, sounds the closest thing to Freddie Mercury I think I've ever heard.
Yeah, I think he would have done really well if he'd done that. Obviously, he's tied up in that competition, so he can't be there to help record. But maybe in the future,
you know, and I was really hoping for my big chance. You know.
Oh yeah. You gonna sing some Freddie Mercury for us?
I've been practicing.
Look for that on. Look on that. That'll be in our Periscope. We'll have a whole production ready for you.
Yeah, we'll do a Bohemian Rhapsody redo.
So there are a few songs though that I really enjoyed on the soundtrack, and you don't really hear them. There's one in the club they did, right, where it's actually I think Rick Ross or whatever, the rapper, and then Skrillex, the dubstep guy.
Yeah.
They have a song they did together, and honestly, like, that's probably one of the coolest things I've heard in a long time from like newer music. So you should definitely check that out.
Is that on the soundtrack?
Yeah, it's the first song on the soundtrack.
Okay,
and
I'll check it
it's
out.
amazing.
But yeah, so overall, I mean, if go in the movie with an open mind, don't expect an Oscar-nominated friggin' movie. You know, when you go see it, you know, go into it with the same ideology and thought process of going to see like a Transformers movie.
It's kind of like the Deadpool of the DC world, I think. Like, it doesn't really have a...
No.
Well, no. I'm not... Hold on. Let me finish.
All right.
Let me finish.
All right. Just jumping down your throat a little early.
Easy there. I know you got to think for Deadpool.
I think a lot of people have.
I love Deadpool. A great movie.
Yeah.
My only... The reason I say it's kind of the Deadpool of the DC world is not because it's as good as Deadpool, because it's not even close. It kind of didn't really have a place. Just like Deadpool kind of was just like... Here's Deadpool, you know what I'm saying? Like when they made the movie, and they totally had the same thing. Like he doesn't really fall in any of the main Marvel films.
You're right. Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So
it just kind of has its own thing.
It's somewhere in the universe, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy was outside, and everyone was like, "Who the hell are Guardians of the Galaxy?"
Yep, exactly.
And then all of a sudden it became a smash hit. Well, I think a lot of people are like, "Who the hell's Suicide Squad?" They had to throw the Joker in some way just to make it seem a little bit more of a tie-in, because if they didn't have the Joker,
they would make no sense.
Nobody would give a shit about who these other random people are.
Very true.
So
in fact, I think in this movie it works for the movie, but like in most of the other things I've ever seen or dealt with Batman or the Joker and that stuff, Harley Quinn is such a minor character that like she doesn't even register. Like it's kind of laughable, but in this movie it works that she's kind of a main character, and the actress that plays her does such a good job.
Yeah, Margot Robbie.
She's great. In fact, her and Will Smith have pretty good like on-screen chemistry.
Yeah, that was definitely some good chemistry, even though Will Smith is old enough to be her father.
True.
She is 26 years old.
When I say chemistry, I don't mean in a sexual way.
Oh, that's the only way I know. Sorry.
I just meant in like acting, screen presence, like they're kind of back and forth. The movie Focus they did together, I think last year.
Oh, did they?
I thought was phenomenal. They were both the leads in that movie too.
Yeah, and Will Smith's turning 50 or something now?
I don't know.
So he's
doesn't look a day over 30.
Yeah. But yeah, with that, I mean, check it out if you're into the DC universe. It takes place somewhere in it. You'll have to figure it out
because we don't know.
Because I have no idea.
And this is not the place to learn things like that.
Yeah. Check it out. Read Wikipedia and find out where it fits in.
I'm sure there's a subreddit that will tell you all about it.
But enjoy the eye candy, enjoy the music, enjoy the action, enjoy the weird pimple enemies that just had.
So weird.
It almost, I don't know, it was just creepy, weird, like vacuum sealed faces.
The whole movie was kind of vacuum sealed, if you think about it. Like, it really kind of happened in a vacuum. Like, if you took, other than the Joker, like you said, if he wasn't involved, like, the whole movie would not have really mattered.
Oh, nobody would give a shit.
And so, here's one more thing. The main enemy of the movie, like, I get kind of why they were pissed, but at the same time, like, where the fuck did they come from? And...
Yeah, that's true.
Like, were they old... I don't know. I mean, they kind of alluded to make it sound like, oh yeah, we were gods from like some, but they didn't say where they were from or what they were based on.
And with that, it got very oddly supernatural again. Very like X-Men Apocalypse, like where it just got kind of extra weird. Where it was like, if these people have all this power, there's no way that they would get defeated.
Well, and why? And
I know you have.
I was thinking that the whole time. Like, okay, so she has all these powers. Why is she fighting these people hand-to-hand combat?
Yeah.
Why?
And then some of the things that just, I mean, you'll see it in the movie where that just don't make sense towards the end. I'm not going to bring it up. I don't want to ruin it.
Oh, sorry. Did I ruin something?
No. Nothing got ruined. But
make me out to be the asshole here.
That was AJ that ruins your movies. He also said that Kaiser Soze was.
This is going to be labeled spoiler alert.
I'm the one that uploads these, so I'm not labeling it. I'm just going to label it AJ's an asshole.
I will Twitter it.
So
yeah, that's the name of this one. It's Suicide Squad. AJ's an asshole.
Episode 3, Suicide Squad review bonus. AJ is an asshole. So, but yeah, with that, like I said, that's all I got. This is kind of like one of those little side sidecast podcast for this review. We'll get back on track. I know we owe you guys at least one crank phone call for.
We still need to do that.
And we'll do that next time.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
This is just we saw the movie, wanted to give our review and see what other people thought about it. So we really want to get our social media active. I know there are a lot of listeners out there.
Please message us, email us.
Yeah, just
shoot us a Twitter message. I don't know how that works.
Tweet
us. I'll twat you back. And then we want to get involved. We want people to hear people's opinions and kind of things they have to say about what we talk about or whatever.
Love hearing people's opinions. Love hearing people's ideas. If you want us to talk about certain things.
Yeah, if you're pissed about something that we haven't touched on, please bring it up. We'll be sure to give our comments on it.
All the people that were ready to watch Usual Suspects next week.
They've been waiting 20 years.
They said, well, I refuse to watch Usual Suspects.
I finally found it at the Goodwill for $2.
Until the Centurion collection comes out, I won't watch Usual Suspects. I'm waiting for the special 20th anniversary edition.
I actually I went through a thrift store the other day and I saw Usual Suspects on a VHS, and I almost bought it, and then I remembered I don't have a VHS player.
Oh, no shit, huh?
Yeah, I haven't had one for like 10 years.
Oh, that's odd, because we all have them, right? Well, you should have bought it.
No, it's probably been like 15 now.
You should have bought the VHS and handed it to your son. And said, here, I got you a movie. His son is 4 years old. He would have no idea what to do with it.
He'd probably try to hit the cats with it or something. He'd chase him around and beat him with it.
Like, I want to get my son, like, some old landline rotary phone. Just have him call Grandma.
They would love that, dude.
They have no idea, man.
They would love it, though. The kids love the old phones. My mom had one my son would play with all the time when he was a baby.
Yeah, he would have no idea. I mean, he's just... Actually...
They would know it was a phone, I think.
Here's the technology aspect of what I'm dealing with in my life. So, my wife and I, we go to the store, and my sister-in-law was watching our kids. I had to call back home to talk to my sister-in-law and ask her a question about something if we needed it at home before I bought it at the store. She has 2 cell phones, by the way.
Okay.
So I call one, nothing. I call the other, leave a message, no answer, obviously. I text both those cell phones, nothing. So I say to my wife, well, we can't get a hold of her. Like, why the fuck does she have 2 cell phones and I can't get a hold of her? Do me a favor. Try Skyping my Skype account, because Liam, my son, always runs around with that damn iPad. So today she decided
my son's got that damn iPad. So old man.
So she Skypes my account, and it rings the iPad, and she gets through to my 3.5-year-old son when I couldn't.
So your 3.5 is more available than you.
I couldn't get through to my sister-in-law who has 2 cell phones, and my 3.5-year-old son answers Skype.
What you need to do is set up your Skype account on the Xbox, so when people are watching the TV, your face will show up like you're the fucking Wizard of Oz.
You shall not pass. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yes, that's what you should do.
But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. That's the technological world we live in now. That's why my son would have no idea what a
3.5-year-old is easier to get a hold of than your
because
30-something.
Because he Skypes.
How old? I don't even know how old she is.
36, I think. I don't know.
Well.
But it's just funny because he's 3.5 and he Skypes, and sometimes he'll randomly go through that iPad and he'll Skype Grandma, and she'll be like, "I had 17 missed Skype calls,
dude."
I don't know what it was.
We'll go through my son's iPad and we'll find videos of us like driving, of him like recording us while we're driving, or like him taking pictures of himself or us and stuff. I'm like, you little shit, stop recording us,
Nice.
Talking about people we don't like, oh, Bill's such an asshole today, like.
Oh Jesus! All right. Well, anyway, let's get sign off of this, and thanks once again for listening in. Both our I guess our American, Canadian, and Mexican friends out there.
Basically, everyone on the North American continent.
Yeah, trying to branch out to the rest of the world. So feel free, share our podcast episodes with your friends. And,
yes, and please message us. We'd love to hear things you guys have to say. Or type or whatever.
Yep, and AJ loves pictures of hairy men nipples. If you want to just...
I do not.
No, he does. Send him.
You can send
them courtesy AJ. he was just telling me how big of a fan he is. So,
Those are not the nipples I was saying I was a fan of.
all right. So anyway, thanks again, guys, and have a lovely night.
Yep. See ya.